Hey guys, I'm Caitlin.
I'm Eddie.
And we're Plastic Culture, and you're listening to Bradley's House Podcast.
Nothing is impossible, but certain things are highly improbable. Don't think I'll meet your kind again, not in this lifetime.
Hey guys, come on in, grab a seat, make yourself comfortable, as you should when you're a guest in Bradley's House, the podcast. I am your co-host, Jarett Orr. She is the executive director of the NowellFamily Foundation, and our host, Ms. Kellie Nowell. Kellie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really great. Thanks, Jarett. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be jealous of myself. I am so excited to have another episode out, coming off of a really cool, fun episode with a upcoming band, Plastic Culture. It was a lot of fun having. Yeah, Caitlin and Eddie were a lot of fun, and I've been checking out a lot of their music. If you guys haven't, make sure you go ahead and check them out. But had a lot of fun with that episode, and I think people are really enjoying it. Downloads are coming in, everything's looking good. So, was really happy to get that one done, and I'm excited for another big episode today. Kellie, once again, you have lined up an amazing guest. Our house guest today is a man who knew and was actually signed by your brother Brad while he was still in high school. Alongside his childhood friend Kyle McDonald, he's created a fan base and scene that can be best described as our genre's version of the Grateful Dead. They've headlined tours, festivals, destination vacation concerts with Closer to the Sun, and after all these years, the crowd still goes crazy every time they swap their guitar and bass on stage mid-song. With their reggae sound, punk roots, jam band vibes, hip-hop rhymes, blues and funk riffs, they offer something for everyone, including amazing vibes and non-stop smiles while on stage. Today, I am so excited to bring to you one of my favorite musicians of all time, a man who actually didn't need an introduction to our audience, which is no doubt filled with stupid heads. But this is a podcast, there's always going to be an intro. So let's welcome co-founder of the band Slightly Stoopid, Miles Doughty. Miles, how are you today, man?
Hey, what's going on, Jarett? How you doing, Kellie? It's good to be here, that's for sure.
That was quite an introduction, Jarett. That's the most impressive introduction he's done, Miles. You should be super flattered.
That was pretty crazy, man. Thanks for all the love. That was pretty awesome.
Well, man, I'm a longtime fan, and I know that the listeners are super excited for this one, and I am admittedly one of those stupid heads. So I'm trying to play it cool for everybody, but inside I'm pretty pumped up about this.
I appreciate it, man. It's definitely good to be here, and this whole journey has been a blessing in itself. So it's rad to be able to be here with you guys.
Well, you're a busy guy. We appreciate you taking the time, and our mutual friend Jaime Scott was nice enough to set this up. So we're super excited to have a little bit of time to talk with you. I know you've been busy with kids and sports and stuff. Tell me about your kids. How many do you have?
I have 3 daughters. I have a 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
All girls. Oh my gosh. Wow. Boy, do you have some fun coming up.
Yeah, you know what? There's no love like a daughter's love for her daddy, though. So
that is so true.
Wait till they're teenagers.
I know that's. I figured my plan was when they were teenagers, I would just tour more. You know what I mean? To kind of maybe skip part of that. Just so
I'm going to say that's probably wise. Yeah, solid plan for sure. And you coach some of their sports, right?
Yeah. I've been coaching their softball teams for about 5.5 years. They're both pitchers, the 2 older ones, and they have a lot of fun. They've been playing a long time, and now that just since we haven't been touring because of this whole crazy year, it was the most that I've ever seen my wife in the time we've been together, and the most that I've ever seen my kids. So there's like
That's
a silver
awesome.
lining to it sucks not being on the road, playing music with your boys and seeing all the fans, but at the same time, you kind of forget, you are, there's normal stuff to life too, as far as like a family. And once you have children, even though you're a touring musician, this is the time where they do come first finally, where everything is about them just because we've been home so long. So it's been cool.
Awesome.
It's been a little, it kind of can lose your mind a little bit sometimes because even I'm not, we're not used to being home. So you're kind of like, you screw up the routine at the house, you know what I mean? Just because,
Sure.
it's just a different thing, but it's been great,
They're probably secretly asking Mom when you're going to go back on tour.
It could be. I mean, they could be, but at the same time, we've got to do so much fun stuff, whether, we're surfing, going on boats and playing sports and just having a good time, utilizing this time is the best we can.
Yeah, sounds like you are. That's awesome. Did you play a lot of sports when you were younger? Is that why the coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved to coach kids just in the neighborhood. I've been doing it about 15 years. I used to coach high school wrestling for about 9 years, and then I went into softball. And I grew up wrestling, and I grew up playing ball. So I have a lot of sisters that played softball, and it was just kind of the girls wanted to play. And I usually try to have the time to be there during their regular seasons, and then tour when they're not. So it's a lot of fun.
Right on. Did you grow up in San Diego?
Yeah. Me and Kyle, we grew up in Ocean Beach, in San Diego, and we grew up pretty much we started on the same street, but basically just in the same little zone of town. So, we've known each other since diapers. So it's been this is a killer little town just to kind of grow up and experience.
Yeah, it's a great spot. So when did you start playing music?
I think we kind of started around the same time, like right around like 12 years old, somewhere around there. And then we started Slightly Stoopid in high school, just kind of playing like house parties and for the most part when we first began, and then snuck in and started playing like Soma, which is the local San Diego, kind of like the only really dope all ages venue for bands like ours to play. And so it's been cool. Just kind of, we formed a band really just as we were still learning how to play, just because it's just something that, we wanted to do. We're just like, we want to basically just said, fuck it. And just, we're like, let's just make a band and just start playing and figure it out. And it was pretty cool, man. It's pretty crazy to be, we've been in the band 25 years together, me and Kyle, but we've also been basically brothers since, for more than 40 years. And it's crazy, just most people don't know someone for 10 years, and we've been bros for 40 years, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
And we've always lived in the same town together and did so much stuff growing up, and it's really cool. It's been a crazy journey, and we get to have fun for a living, and it's a place where you get to hang out with your best friends and really feed off the energy of people and experience so many different cool things of life. So
who came up with the name?
Honestly, we still kind of don't remember. It was so long ago. We were like 15, 16 years old and just kind of throwing names back and forth. And something was like slightly something, and somehow someone was like, that's stupid. And somehow, I think I don't remember if it was Kyle or if it was Adam that put those two pieces together, but it just kind of stuck. And what's kind of funny is, when you're a punk rock kid and everything, that's just like the sickest name. You know what I mean? You're like Slightly Stoopid. These guys, they don't give a shit about nothing. They're just gonna go out there and go crazy and have fun and just and as you get older and when you're cruising around, you tell, if you're like on a plane and someone's like, hey, you just start rapping like an older person. Hey, what do you do? And like, I'm in this band. And they're like, oh, maybe I've heard of it. What's the name? And you say Slightly Stoopid, and they'll look over at you, and they can't help but like chuckle, which is this is what I've always loved about the name of the band, because it literally, like, when you say it to some people, no matter what, you're gonna remember something about the band because of the name. Like, it's so silly. Like, those stupid guys, or slightly something, or just. When you first tell some people that never heard, the initial shock is priceless. It's awesome.
Well, it aged well. We had Brandon Hardesty on a few episodes ago, and he was like, yeah, I kind of wish we didn't name our band Bumpin' Uglies, and now it's kind of, but it's caught, and it's so that's what it is, and so.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it has its moment in time, and it is what it is. It's just, you think about it through the course of time from when you were 16 and you started this band, and now you're, in your 40s, and it's still, same band, we've had the same lineup for a long time. But me and Kyle, we've been together this whole time, and it's just funny to just still have that crazy, vibe, and we still have that same kind of energy as when we were little punk rock kids.
Awesome.
We're just older now.
When Brad was that age, he was in a band called Sloppy Seconds.
Oh, that's pretty rad too.
It was. But I know when they decided to come up with a name for Sublime, you wanted something a bit more commercial. He was definitely looking in that direction. He heard
dope.
you guys when you guys were in high school, right?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So they were playing a show at what was a local bar, kind of like almost like a biker bar back in the day. It was called Dream Street in Ocean Beach, off Bacon Street, and they were playing one night, and I think I just turned 16, and my mom and her friends, Kyle's dad and his friends, they were all huge Sublime fans, because just like kind of a surf community, and we were too. Like this was back in the day when there was still cassette tapes that you had in your car, and so we would go on surf trips down to like K38s, 39s, bumping the 40 ounce to Freedom cassette tape. It had to have been 93, right around there, maybe.
Nice.
I think right around that era. And so basically they were playing at Dream Street, and my mom's friend made me a fake ID so I can go to the show. And because it was a bar, 21 and up, and she made this
That's
perfect.
a good friend.
Yo, this thing was so good back then. It was before they had all those crazy chips and things. So
yeah.
But the license was literally all my info, my picture, perfect, legit California license. Like I can go into any liquor store and just buy booze at 16, and it was like
man.
Shit.
Damn, that's a lot better than the one that I got at the swap meet that said I was a flight attendant when I was 15.
I had the exact same thing. I actually had a guy that like modified my learner's permit and was like able to change the actual date on it. Shout out Will Wadsworth. Dude, I was getting beer for so long. And the worst part is like when I was 15 or 16, I guess I was 16 because it was my learner's permit. When I was 16, I looked 14. And I would go into these liquor stores, and people would look at this thing and they would just be like, no fucking way. I mean, I actually had a guy pull a book out from underneath to look at how you could find if a license was counted, but everything was legit on it except for the date.
Yeah, that's what's money. When you have all the stuff like legit, it's so easy just to walk in there confident, going, "How you like? Sorry, dude, flash it, do what you want, man. This thing's you don't have me. Like I'm good, I'm in." Nice. So, but anyway, so we went to the show, and I forget exactly what happened, but we were all outside, and my mom and her friends, and Kyle's dad, everyone was kind of chilling around over there, and they were talking to Miguel and Brad, and Troy was there. I think they got wind somehow, like that she was a nurse or something, and just see if, they were trying to make some sort of attempt to kick heroin, I think at the time. And so they just kind of got rapping, and the conversation just went to, well, my son and his friend play in a band, and, since Miguel and Bradley kind of have that punk rock attitude, they're like, oh, well, we'll come over tomorrow and come check them out. And literally they just came over the next day, and then we had all this recording equipment and acoustic guitars and electrics and basses out. And next thing you know, we just started tracking right there. Like that first day, just hit record and start playing music. It was pretty rad just because, I was a kid, and this is, obviously, a band that you're a big fan of, and who kind of, you can't believe that they're in your pad, hanging out and jamming with you, and even giving you the time of day. So it was pretty cool. And from there, it just kind of kind of took, I ended up spending a lot of time with Brad and Troy, and, you know, kind of took under the wing. And this was when Brad didn't have a license. And I ended up like just kind of driving around like from Long Beach to San Diego. And
there were a lot of times when Brad didn't have a license.
Yeah. You know, and I was just 16 and I'm driving, you know,
God.
Brad's kind of treating me like his little brother, and just kind of giving, you know, I'm hanging out with all the boys and being a little guitar tech, you know, kind of carrying all the gear in at night, you know, just going to the shows and just having a lot of fun. And that's kind of how the, you know, the mentoring and the friendship kind of kept going, and like basically kind of just total treatment of like little brother kind of style. And it was awesome, man. We had a lot of good times, and Miguel and Brad were like, hey, you know, we got this little spot called the Fake Nightclub up in Long Beach. Why don't you guys, you know, come up and record a record? And so, you know, so many people think that when you know, you're going to be on a label and record or whatever, and it's supposed to be like this and that. And the Fake Nightclub was the craziest little spot there was, like just super ghetto, reel to reel 8-track, total punk rock, just spray. Every wall was graffitied you couldn't even see a patch of white. You know, the carpet, you know, you might as well just light it on fire. Like it just, everything was so crazy, dirty and gnarly, but rad at the same time. You know, like that moment in time was just, you know, we were so pumped to be recording, and, you know, we were with Miguel every night, and all the boys would come down from, you know, Opie to Eric, Bud, Brass, you know, Brad, everybody just come down and hang, and it turns into a party. And we're little kid, you know, we're young kids in high school just going, this is fucking rad. You know, like, just because you're such fans of the band, and you know, they were such a big influence on, you know, not only us but just so many people in general, and it was just really cool how that, you know, there was a good little stretch of 3 years about you know, before Brad passed, that, you know, we had a cool little relationship, and just they taught us a lot about just what to do on the road, and get back to towns over and over again, never giving up, because, you know, you've gone into towns where there's no one there, and then next thing you know, there's 20 people there, and then it turns into 100, and keeps kind of going up and up, and the fan base has just been great. And we learned that from Brad and Miguel, just saying, hey, get your asses on the road, like don't forget, like the grassroots kind of grind is what really, you know, builds you to have success, just because the appreciation between the hard work on the road and the fan base is, you know, something that is like timeless, really. And that's kind of what the best advice they gave us coming out of all that was that, like, get your ass in the van, hit the road 200 plus days a year, and just make it happen. That's kind of what, you know, Kyle and me were like, yo, this is what we want to do. And let's just, no matter what, you know, you can't be scared to fail. You just got to get your asses out there and do it.
Absolutely. There's no shortcut, that's for sure.
No, not back then, because this was like pre-Napster and all that stuff. So you actually had to like flyer towns and stuff with paper flyers.
Yeah, yeah, for those young ones listening, we used paper back then. So when did things really start to take off for you guys?
I mean, I think it's always been just kind of this steady climb. Like there was never any peaks or valleys. I think it just was a steady climb where every show just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time. I mean, honestly, probably like right around Everything You Need. I think just energy from people and the band itself, I think, started to kind of grow. And that album, I think, came out at the right time, where we were kind of just making kind of like just maturing as a band, really. You know what I mean? I think when you're younger, you know, and the way we like to make music in general, but when we were younger, we were just more kind of like fuck the establishment kind of punk rock attitude. Whereas you get older, you mature as a person, but also as a musician, because we're fans of so many different styles of music. Like, and I think as a musician, it gets boring to, you know, to just sit there and play the same style. That's why we play so many different styles. You know, me and Kyle both like to play the guitar and the bass, so we switch back and forth, you know, both singing and all that stuff, where that's kind of something that no band really does. You know what I mean? That was kind of a thing that we did from the beginning, and it's kind of turned into its own little thing. They're called the Swizzle out there on the stage, and so many good moments doing that forever, and I think it's a cool staple of the band, and yeah.
I got to ask, has that move ever been botched? Has anyone dropped, missed the handoff? Because you guys seem to do it so seamlessly, and it seems like it usually happens during like Don't Stop, but you guys do that switch. I mean, you had to have dropped one night, right?
I think we've definitely botched a few. That it is what it is. I think sometimes it looks even though it looks like it's easy. Sometimes when you're going through it and you've had a few drinks, like the Swizzle can be a little more challenging.
More challenging. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys do like you said, a wide range of sounds and songs. Somehow you guys have avoided doing a lot of Sublime songs, and knowing the amazing relationship that you had with Brad and Miguel and the guys. Has that been on purpose that you've left the Sublime catalog alone, or I mean, what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for us, I thought that the best way that we could honor Brad was to kind of create our own little realm. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been easy because back then we were there wasn't a lot of, like, you can call them like baby bands or that style. Like, there wasn't really a lot of bands besides, Sublime and like the No Doubt, 311. There wasn't really anyone. There wasn't a lot of those bands because the influence hadn't exploded yet, and it could have been easy just to sit there and do some of that live out of the gates where it, maybe that would have helped us. I don't know, but I just felt like for us, the best way honoring him was to do what he had said, is get our butts on the road and play our asses off and earn our fan base. And I thought that was the best way to honor him, just because that's exactly what he said we should do. Every now and then, you know what? I don't even think we have really done it live. I think I did one on a couple like live streams, but we've never actually physically played one at a concert. And I think the fans would probably love it. I mean, maybe we will at some point, but I think that we always kind of wanted to be our own voice and create our own voice, and not, take anything away from the integrity of the songs that he wrote. And I feel there's a lot of, so many people have, which is also respect because the influence that they've had on thousands of people. But I think that just because of the relationship we had and what they did for us, I felt like that was the way we should honor, his legacy as far as what they gave to us, and kind of, we kind of just got on the road and tried to do our best to emulate what the advice we were given.
Sure. And it certainly shows. And to be honest, and I've brought this up on the show before, I'm not a huge fan of cover songs, people doing other people's stuff, but I will tell you, I'm from the East Coast. I've been force-fed a lot of Bruce Springsteen. And that's somebody that you wouldn't necessarily think that would have been an influence on a Slightly Stoopid, but you guys do an amazing cover of I'm on Fire. And
Thanks,
I mean, how does the Boss come into play for you guys?
Honestly, my mom, when I was growing up, used to play the shit out of Bruce Springsteen. Like, it was, summer days, it was just blaring on the stereo. And I think it was just embedded in my brain. I thought that in a stretch of time, he was a phenomenal songwriter. His stories were pretty rad, and not, there's so much, regardless in music, there's so many different influences. And growing up, that just hearing it, a quarter of my life, I think it forced me into that song. You know what I mean? Just because it was already embedded in my head.
No, absolutely. And another one that I tell people all the time about, I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. I always have been, every version of the band. And dude, you and Bobby doing Franklin's Tower in his studio is without a doubt one of my favorite versions of that song. So I got to ask you, Miles.
Oh, thanks, dude.
what the fuck do you think "Roll Away the Dew" means?
Yeah.
Because I've got no idea. I've been asking Dead fans this for 25 years, and they all just look at me the same way.
I thought that "roll away the dew" meant like clear, like the smoke from all the weed, like roll away the dew, like get through the fog. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. That's the only kind of description I could think of it. I just don't.
I'll take that. You
know what I mean? To me, that's what it would be like. Get the dew out of the way. Just like let me clean out all the smoke from all the spliffs that have been smoking all night. But yeah, honestly, that was such a cool moment. We've got to play with him a few times, and God, man, the dude is just, first of all, a legend, man. Like the Grateful Dead still does stuff that no one can do, and we really kind of modeled a lot of touring after seeing what they did, and you know, the Stupid Heads and the Deadheads, there's a lot of similarities, and what was cool about playing with Bobby is it really opened up a lot of fans in the Dead world to us, you know what I mean? And now at the shows you can see just from doing those TRI sessions just how, you know, much that opened up, because you know, the Grateful Dead has been around for so long, their fan base is just massive, and anything they do with stuff they check out, and it's been awesome, man. Like I think Kyle said it best. He's like, when you look into Bob Weir's eyes, it's like staring into a galaxy. You know what I mean? And just because the dude has just gone through and seen so much in his time as a musician, and experimented with who knows what, and just made it through. He's still in his 70s, still rocking. Like, it's just incredible, you know what I mean? And anything you can learn from people like that, you just sit there and feed off of it, you know what I mean? It's such a cool moment. There was a funny part, just in general, just playing. We were playing a song, I think "Baby I Like It," and some crazy like words. You know, there's some pretty vulgar lyrics in that song, and we say the line, you get to see Bob's face look like, holy shit, did he just say that? it was like a funny moment, and during the live, you know, jam of the song, it was cool. So just, it's been awesome, man. I think the whole Stupid Head, Deadhead world is intertwining, and you know, playing all those festivals that we played in the jam based world has been awesome too. It just opened up so many different avenues for Stupid, and we play a lot of that stuff anyway. So it's really cool just to be able to, you know, always have like an eclectic, you know, mix of music and characters. You know, all of the guests that we always have, you know, usually is like, you know, Charlie Tuna, Don Carlos, Marlon Asher, Angelo from Fishbone. You know, just it's been awesome, dude. We just basically just Stupid and friends all the time.
Yeah, every show is a new. In fact, I mean, I've seen you guys in a bunch of different states. I saw you guys in Buffalo, New York. Well, I guess Lewiston, New York, a few years ago, and you had I think you played with Pepper, and you brought Don Carlos out. That was when Kyle was in his cast.
Oh, wow,
yeah, and limping around, and I saw you guys actually. My two favorite shows of all time in my entire musical career is I saw David Bowie play at a real small venue in Buffalo, and it was just an amazing show. And the other one was in Portland, Oregon. You guys did a show, and you actually brought Perro Bravo. Somehow you got Miguel out of California. And so you had Perro Bravo, Fortunate Youth, and then you guys come on. And
was that the Crystal Ballroom?
That was the Crystal Ballroom. Yeah.
Yes. The bouncing floor.
Yeah, that show was, so I missed out. The show sold out like really quick. And I was like, you know, no big deal. I know a bunch of scalpers. I'll get tickets one way or the other. But man, the ticket prices were higher than giraffe pussy. There was just no way to, like, I just wasn't paying that price. So I actually reached out to Mud, and I was like, Mud, you got to get me in this show. Like, I'll still pay somebody, and Mud's like, yeah, man, I talked to Michael, and he said that, you know, we've got a bunch of people in Portland already on the list. And I'm like, all right, that's fine, but you let Michael know that there's a time he would have just went to Kinko's and printed up another 50 copies of passes. And I actually, so a few years before that, my dad was the vice president for Famous Footwear, Brown Shoe Company, and my dad got Bert Suzanka's son a job. Bert had posted that his kid was looking for a job while in college, and my dad hooked him up with a job, and Bert hit me with the famous last words, hey man, if you ever need anything. And like a year and a half later, I was like, hey Bert, you said if I ever need anything, I got to get into this show. And Perro Bravo already shut me down, and he actually reached out to Kyle, and Kyle put me on the list.
That's awesome.
That show was just absolutely amazing. And I say it all the time nobody even got there for Perro Bravo. It was like me and like 5 other people standing up there, and people started to fill in. And from the second Michael went on stage to Fortunate Youth to you guys, that's like one of my very top concert experiences.
Oh yeah, that place is rad too. Like the floor is on these springs, so as the crowd bounces, the floor bounces. It's pretty intense. And the energy at that place every single time we've played there has just been absolutely bonkers. So that was definitely like the spot to see. I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah, it was amazing. And so the good news is I got right up front for Michael and for Perro Bravo. The bad news is by the time you guys got on there, I had 0 chance at leaving the front of that stage. I mean, I was like pressed up against the thing. I mean, I think Jeff Pliskin from RFP probably elbowed me in the nose like 3 times trying to get shots. And I'm like, dude, there's nowhere for me to go. I'm slammed in this thing. I don't know what the hell happened.
I don't know how people in that front row, people get just abused, man. Like those are the real like super fans, super troopers. Like you got to be able to hang if you could chill in that front row, because you're always just getting pressed against the barricade or the stage and from behind and the side.
Well, how about your boy Kyle hopped off stage and slapped the shit out of that guy that jumped off the stage and hurt that girl at the one show.
Yeah, I mean that dude broke that girl's neck, and she would God, what was her name again? God bless her.
Broke her neck?
Yeah, and she oh
my God.
was still, I'm not even sure if she's all the way back to walking completely normal, but she walked with a major limp, like hunched over with a cane for a long time. Like she broke her neck. I mean, that guy, when you're 260 pounds, you can't be doing stage dives from 10-foot elevated stages. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
That was crazy. But yeah, that was a sad day. It sucked. I tip my hat to Kyle for whacking that dude, because Christ, dude, he changed that girl's life forever. You know what I mean? And we love people to go crazy, but when you're that size, you got to think, when you're jumping into a crowd, there's like a lot of little people, people that are 150 pounds or less that can't handle a 260 pound. I mean, none of us could handle a 260 pound dude landing on you from 10 feet of air. You know what I mean? Right. So that kind of sucked. I love stage dives and all that kind of stuff, like just because of the punk rock mentality. But, sometimes there's a time and a place, like when you're in like a punk rock club where it only holds 300 people, the stage is only 1.5 feet off the ground. So you're literally just climbing on top of the people's heads. But when you're on those, outdoor summer stages that are 90 feet, they're 10 feet high, and it's just a whole different animal. You got to clear the barricades, so you got to jump out like 6 feet. So that 260 pounds becomes like 600 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's pretty crazy. But yeah,
Kelly, you've probably been in some mosh pits, right, Kelly?
You'd be surprised to know that I have been in a couple of mosh pits, Jarett. Not intentionally; they just sort of start around me. But yeah, I've seen a few. My
Dude,
kids
you just gotta roll.
Right? I love it. I love the energy of the pit. I have 2 boys that are both like 6'2" and 6'4". So I like going to shows with them. And when the mosh pit breaks out, they're like my personal bodyguards. I feel so.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, a good old mosh pit. I haven't been in one in a long time, but we used to go in them all the time.
I think one thing that kind of stands out to me in the whole Slightly Stoopid story, And I don't know how many people are even familiar with this, but obviously you talked about how influential Brad and Miguel and Skunk was to you guys as kids. And something that happens for us when, you know, we become men is that 18th birthday. And for Kyle, that was actually the day Brad passed away. Obviously he took it hard, but that must have really been something that was, was that a setback for him and you guys? What was that like?
No, what was actually rad is that we played a house party right at the beach that day. And we just kind of celebrated, even though he had passed, but we kind of, celebrated his life, and still celebrated Kyle's birthday at the same time. I think, no one can plan when that kind of stuff is going to happen. It happened to fall on his birthday, but I don't think it changed him or anything. I think he definitely bummed. I don't think, that's the thing you want to hear. Right before we were about to play, it was kind of that kind of thing that happened, and we were all kind of in disbelief, really. But the best thing was for us was we were actually playing a party. So it was daytime. Everyone from the hood was there. It was rad. You know what I mean? It couldn't have been a better place to be to get that kind of news.
2 years ago, we were at Cali Roots with the foundation. We had a booth. That was our first time going. And it happened to be over the weekend of the anniversary of Brad's death. And Kyle came and did an acoustic set at our booth on that day. And it was really cool because, to have it be the anniversary of Brad's death, to be surrounded by all these people that, love the music, and then to have Kyle on his birthday sitting there playing, it was a really cool moment. It was really special.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's crazy is just, how many people have been influenced or touched by, Sublime and Brad's music. You know what I mean? It reached so many people for so many different reasons and on different levels. And I think, that's the beautiful thing about music. It's universal, first of all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't see anything but people, you know what I mean? And it reacts and it has different reactions from everyone. And he really launched a whole revolution of SoCal reggae rock, music, basically. And it's really cool when you think about it, kind of how, every little era has a certain style where, there was hair metal, then all of a sudden grunge came, and then Sublime came. And that really changed, the whole grunge scene was crazy. Like the greatest thing out of the grunge scene was Nirvana, and everything else after that to me was crap. No offense to anybody, but just Nirvana, their music was so insane. And then Brad's music came in and changed that whole genre, just like they had done it to hair metal. And I thought it was just something that's timeless, and the message is rad, and so many people are inspired and are happy by it. And that's something that, him looking down from musical heaven, he's got to be proud of that. His son should be proud of that. I know Troy is, and his family, and everyone that's, been part of his life as far as musically and family and friends and everything. Like, that should be something that everybody's proud of. It's something spectacular, and it's, those are the kind of things. There's only a handful of people that can do that, and they were one of them.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Good art speaks to people, and whether it's music or a painting or a sculpture or whatever, I think if it touches you and communicates something to you, makes you feel something, that's pretty powerful.
Oh, for sure. That's what. Life without art would just be crazy. You know what I mean? It's so much. It brings so much joy to everybody, like in every sort of aspect. So, we need it.
Yeah, you know what they say. If you take the art out of Earth, all you have is Try the veal. I'll be here all week.
That's pretty
awesome.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here, Miles, because I asked for some fan questions, and a lot of questions came in, and one of the topics that's been brought up for years and years, and my buddy Reed asked this question: is there or is there not a recorded version of Slow Ride that was supposed to be on the Look at All the Love We Found tribute album? Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious. You know what? We did a version, but it just didn't make it.
Okay, fair enough.
It just didn't make it. Yeah. But yeah, we did a version.
All right. So are we ever going to hear that at any point, anywhere, anytime? If you want to just send it to me on the side, that I won't share it with anyone. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that it just didn't work out in time. So we just didn't do it. There's definitely a couple, things in the works right now that aren't that song. So
Okay.
You could be looking for those at some point. But I'm not going to tell you the song that we're doing. But it'll definitely be happening.
Ooh, I like that little inside baseball here on Bradley's House, the podcast. I appreciate
inside,
that.
Not so.
So you guys started out as a 3-piece that was really heavily punk influenced, and now at times you guys can be like a 13-piece. You guys got horn players and trumpet players and all sorts of friends coming up, and you guys have kind of shifted more to that reggae sound. How exactly did that all come about?
I mean, I think just like I was talking about earlier, just as far as just maturing as a musician, letting all your influences kind of show through your music instead of just sticking with one style. I think, for that time when we were teenagers, that was kind of the vibe that we had. And I think as we kept getting older, like we mixed in more ska and threw in a couple reggae songs and still played punk, but now then we started writing like blues and hip hop and all this different kind of versions of music, and it just kind of overtook the set, and we still, when the moment calls for it, we like to play punk rock. When there's moments that don't call for it as much anymore, but we still try to throw in at least one. And then if people go nuts for that one, then we're going to do a second one. But sometimes you'll throw punk rock into some of these venues, these outdoor venues where people just aren't ready for that. You totally throw them off, which I think is hilarious. And, where they're kind of looking at you like, holy shit, what the fuck are you doing right now? And then, there'll be moments where the pit's so crazy, it looks like a freaking tornado. You can see the dust coming up off the ground. So we're definitely a band that just feeds off the crowd. So if the crowd is calling for it, then we'll play it, for sure. Just because we still have punk rock roots regardless. Everyone likes to say fuck you every now and then. So, that's kind of like the attitude you get sometimes with punk rock. It's like, all right, let's get this motherfucker right now. Here we go. Like get all excited. And so I think we'll always still have that in the music. I think just as a musician, you grow up, as a man, you grow up, as you get older, and I think, being fans of so many different styles, and now that we've been playing, for so long and just, fan base that we've had, we've reached out with so many different artists too. And we've become friends with all these people now. So now when we go on the road, we want to go have a great time. And I think us having a great time with all the musicians that we love also resonates over to the crowd. They can see that, this is not, nothing's fabricated. Like this is all this, what you see is what you get out of Slightly Stoopid and crew and everything. And I think there's a respect that we get from people because of that. Like we don't sit there, okay, let's go get ready to play. Like, it's kind of like what you put on for the day is like, all right, that'll be me on stage. And, we kind of go through a regular routine of a couple shots and cocktail, whatever, before you go play. And then you just, go out there and try to crush it for the, hour and a half to 2 hour set you usually get and leave it all on the table.
Yeah, or while you're playing. I don't know who handles your marketing for Slightly Stoopid, but the fact that you guys don't have a red Solo Cup endorsement deal yet is crazy, because I don't know if I've ever seen you without one, man.
Red Solo Cup.
Yeah, that's like...
Dude, that's, I know, right? We should, honestly.
Yeah, if you had an action
point.
figure, if there was a Slightly Stoopid action figure, that would be like your accessory. It would be the red Solo Cup.
That's fucking hilarious, actually. A Solo Cup and a bag of weed.
Yeah.
Would be perfect. Good accessory bag.
Yeah, so I know you like to play a lot of golf. I hear you're a pretty good golfer. I got to ask you, you ever play any disc golf?
You know what? I've actually never played disc golf, and I've always, thought it'd be pretty rad to do, and I've never done it. I don't know why. I feel like when I go to the golf course, I'd rather just bring my golf clubs and go play with my buddies. But yeah, I've always wanted to do it, but I heard it's fun. But I've never been a great Frisbee thrower, so I don't know if I'd be great at that or not. So
I don't know. Pretty athletic, dude. I'll tell you what. Next time I'm in Southern California, we'll do 9 on the links, and then I'll take you out for 9 to play some disc golf. And I think you'll find how addicting it is. I'll tell you what. About 7 years ago, when I got my first disc, I picked my clubs up almost never. Now at this point, disc golf is free. You go out to the park. We turn the music on the Spotify. And it's like literally hiking through the woods and throwing Frisbees. And it's exactly like golf. All the same principles and rules. And there's different discs that are different clubs. And so for someone who's a golfer, I think you might like it.
Yeah. What's funny is that a bunch of people have brought their discs to the shows to get signed. Like when we do like the meet and greets, they pull out discs. They're like, oh, dude, whenever I'm playing Frisbee golf, I like to bump, Stoopid, can you sign my favorite thing? Da, da, da. And they bring their discs out and we talk about it. And I always thought that was rad. Never done it. Would definitely, take a couple spliffs out there and just a couple beers and charge it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. So yeah, we'll next time I'm out in Southern California, you could take me to the links, and I'll take you out to the park and throw some discs, and we'll see how we fare in each other's worlds.
I'm down, dude. That'd be fun, man.
Now, Miles, I ask everybody who comes on the show, if you ran into me and I never heard of the band Sublime. I wasn't familiar with them at all, but I was a huge music fan, and I was going to give you an opportunity to play one Sublime song for me to really kind of catch my attention. What Sublime song would you turn on?
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to keep it, honestly, 40 Ounces of Freedom. I think just if you played that for anyone, it's just a fun song. I've always loved it. That was one of my favorite records in general. You can go to the self-titled record, but it's just more polished. I kind of like the rawness of 40 Ounces, and just that song to me kind of speaks, the happiness of the band.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing song. Now, if you were going to play a Slightly Stoopid song, and I know this one's a difficult question for you because they're all your babies. But what would you say is the quintessential Slightly Stoopid song?
Fuck.
Yeah, tough, right?
I don't know, man, because we play so many different styles. You'd have to go in like little groups of songs. I mean, whenever we
Sweet Honey. All right, I got it.
Whoa. What's crazy is we only played that song a few times, but people requested every show. I think we're going to do some sort of version of it this year, just because we've heard requests for it for so long. We're just going to play it.
Don't give it to them. It's my favorite thing that people cry about on the Stupid Heads group, that Sweet Honey never gets played live. Don't do it. Don't give it to them. Keep begging for it.
It'd be like turning up the ultra low frequency where people just shit themselves, because that's I feel like if we played that song, like it'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe we played it. But honestly, like one of people's favorite songs to hear is Closer to the Sun. it's one of our mellower songs, but the way we play it live now, it's super powerful. Like there's a killer, saxophone solo and guitar solo and just keys underneath. It's just, a great song to close the set or do it during the encore. And there's so many different songs, but to me, I feel like that song can reach, everybody. You know what I mean? If you were going to play a song, great lyrics, melodies, the guitar work. Kyle wrote a beautiful song right there, and I think it's been something that's timeless within the group. I think that kind of style of music with ours is, I think people like a lot, and you can play the reggae songs, the Officers and the 2 a.m.s, which again have their own their own right as well, but I just feel like something like Closer to the Sun, it carries such weight. It moves. It moves not only the music but just the message.
Absolutely, and it was a trick question to both of those because there's no wrong answer to either of them because I don't think you could have picked a wrong one. Here's a question that I always ask for Kellie's benefit. Yeah, I always ask this question for Kellie's benefit because I know how much she enjoys hearing the stories and the takes on her brother. So when someone says the name Bradley Nowell to you, other than the amazing music that he made and the amazing music that he left for us, give me one good, fun, personal memory that comes to mind. A time that you guys were out doing something or just what comes to mind when you hear that name outside of the music?
I mean, he kind of had just an electrifying personality. When he was happy and smiling, like you could feel it. And I remember there was this show we were at. I think it was somewhere in San Diego. I think it might have been like the Salmon House, like right over the bridge from Ocean Beach. And me and Brad were having a beer, and some girl came over and was asking Brad whatever, and he wasn't even listening. He was just kind of looking at me laughing. And then he just looks at the girl and says, "Did you hear that?" And she's like, "What? He's like, "Oh, I farted." And I was just like, "Oh my God." Like, it was just like that moment. He was literally just like not hearing. He was just trying to shake her up just because she was just kind of like so excited to see him, where he was just kind of laughing about it because of her excitement level. And then he threw that out there, and it just totally, she didn't even know how to respond. It was like, what the fuck?
He was quite a ladies' man.
Yes. Yeah, there's a girl out there that tells a story like, yeah, I met that guy from Sublime and he shit in my face. That was the... Dude,
I thought it, honestly, I was dying just because even I was thrown off. I didn't think he was going to say that shit. We were just laughing about something else, and that was what he said to her. And I wonder what her memory is of that, because that was like the end of the conversation.
I would think so. I would imagine that Kelly, he was a charmer, and that probably sounds a lot like, it's funny because people come on the show and they'll talk so much about Brad, and you can almost hear Kelly like, "Oh my God, are you really talking about my stinky brother like this?" Like, it's just, I truly like, and so yeah, I'm happy that was your memory. What's up next for Slightly Stoopid?
Keep moving forward and hit the studio, play whatever shows we can, and make the best of still this never-ending, crazy year and a half or whatever. It's still, for so many musicians, not only us alone, just kind of uncharted waters. So we'll see what happens. I can't go like another year without playing shows. It's absolutely crazy. It's tough. It's not only tough for fans that love to go to shows, it's also tough for us that love to play music. Not being able to do it is definitely mentally challenging. It's like a whole different, you've been an entertainer and a musician for 25 years, and all of a sudden they say that you can't be a musician and an entertainer anymore. So it's pretty crazy. Definitely, it's been nice enjoying this time with the family. I'm not going to lie about that part. It's been something that we've never been able to do. something that I'll never take for granted again. Just because when you're going through the motions of always being gone, that's just kind of what your life is. And then once you've hit the brakes, it's kind of like, oh shit, this is what family life is like. Like, all right, this is pretty rad, like it's cool too, so definitely looking forward to getting back on the road and making music. I know we're going to be recording a new album, and all that kind of stuff soon too. So, I think just moving forward at whatever pace we're allowed to is, kind of what we're going to do.
Sure. No, it's certainly tough. It's tough not being able to go to shows. It's tough not being able to see your favorite musicians and your concert buddies out there. And I'll tell you what, for as far as the fans go, not just for every band, we're all anticipating big things because you guys have had a lot of time to write great music. So no pressure to you guys.
No pressure.
Just wanna.
Well, I mean, once it does come back, it's gonna be like a hurricane. You know what I mean? We're gonna be playing with some crazy energy. The fans are gonna have crazy energy. It's gonna be awesome. They can't hold us down forever. There's definitely, the old saying from wrestling is who holds you down, and like basically life's got to start picking up, and we got to get back to living and just enjoying each other. Getting back to where the energy of music reaches millions of people. You know what I mean? Every music doesn't see any sort of color or anything. It just plays and it feels, and that's what I love about it. And I can't wait to get back to it, sharing the stage with all my bros and all of our guests that have been friends with us a long time. And, big shout out to our boys in Pepper and Common Kings and Don Carlos.
So now one of the things that the Knowell Family Foundation and Bradley's House did, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to hear the amazing compilation album that was put out. Have you heard any of that? Was there any songs that stick out to you? A lot of your friends and former touring mates on there covering songs from, a friend of yours.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good songs on there. Pepper Guys crushed it. I mean, I haven't heard the whole record, but there's quite a few good songs on there. So I'm glad that everybody was able to do it, and it's for a good cause. And just from all the people that recorded on it, you can see the influence that Brad's music had on people, and that's the important thing. That's the thing that all those bands, and ourselves included, will never forget, because the influence that Brad had allowed us to kind of form our own styles and our own following of people and fans, and it's really cool. The whole circle it just keeps going, and more people jump in, and it's great.
Absolutely. Now I have to thank my wonderful co-host Kelly. She knows what a huge Slightly Stoopid fan I am, and she's kind of allowed me to monopolize the time on this one, but that's okay. When we had Frank Turner on, I don't think I got a word in edgewise. So
it's true.
So we got a good partnership here. So
no, that's
awesome. Thank you for that, Kelly. And Miles, it's been awesome being able to chat with you, and we really appreciate you coming on and giving us some time, because I know the fans have been eagerly awaiting this one. So I'm happy that we could finally put it together and get you to come on, and hopefully we can get you back on sometime in the future after you guys are out touring and getting a new album out, and talk a little bit about that. In the meantime, where can everybody check out Slightly Stoopid? You guys got the Stupid Heads group on Facebook. Any websites or live streams coming up?
Always the slightlystoopid.com, the Instagram kind of page, and I think next week I'm going to do a little Facebook, Instagram live, just a little acoustic session, and then I'm probably going to be in the studio in May for a little while, and yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Just going to keep working on new music, and when we find out if we can play shows, we'll announce that to the fans, and
from there on, just keep on living. Like Matthew McConaughey said, he's like LIVIN, living.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got some pretty strong quotes. The one that always sticks out to me from that terrible movie that he did when he was like the surfer or whatever it was. But
dude, I know what you're talking about.
It always sticks out because he says weed will get you through times with no money way better than money will get you through times with no weed.
Dude, that shit was classic.
Yeah, that's
so
a keeper.
good.
So
I mean, talk about that dude has lived a good life right there, dude. You know what I mean?
I don't even know how. He's the worst actor ever.
He's just a likable person, though. That's the thing. Like, sometimes you don't even have to be a great actor just because he's chosen some pretty good roles, been in good movies, or good enough where, it's entertaining. But just think about his character from Dazed and Confused. That was me. We're talking about some fucking muscle.
Hey man, you got a joint? Nope. Be a lot cooler if you did. Which is one of my favorite lines ever. So yeah, you're right. He picked some classic roles. And you know what? I'm sure he listens to Bradley's House. So totally. Matt, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean it. You've had a great career. You're very successful. I'll buy you a cup of coffee sometime for saying that you're a horrible actor. I don't mean it. I don't mean it, Matt.
I think he'll be okay. That's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. So, Miles, it's a lot of fun, man. I know that you have a super busy schedule, and I know that you have 3 kids that are probably wondering what you're doing in the garage. I know my kids, they were always wondering what I was doing in the garage too, but they weren't allowed in there. So,
dude, they're still oblivious to me smoking weed.
Yeah, it was tough because in Portland it was everywhere, and I'll never forget walking past a group of guys that were like sitting on a park bench smoking a joint, and my 12-year-old, who was like 7 at the time, looks up at me and goes, "Daddy, smells like the garage over there." And I'm like, keep walking.
That's what my daughter always says. It smells like Daddy's studio. And I was like, "Oh, it's because we use the same the air spray,
air freshener."
And she's just like, I'm not gonna be able to get away with that for too much longer, though. They're gonna like go on some sort of YouTube and just see me smoking a spliff on stage and be like, "Dad, what the fuck is that?"
Yeah, you're gonna have to answer that. Well, you know what? In all fairness, my mom did a really good job hiding it from me. And then the very first time in middle school that I ever smoked a joint, and as soon as it got lit, I looked at my buddy and I was like, "Dude, you got a vacuum cleaner bag burning in here?" I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Because my mom vacuums like 3 times a night, every night, and she keeps telling me the bag's burning. That's the smell that's coming from her." Oh, and then it all kind of connected, and it all made sense. Yeah, because I remember her telling me, like, "Listen, man, you're in middle school, you're going into high school, kids are going to offer you drugs, you have to say no, but what you do, you take them, you bring them home to mommy, and I'll make sure that the right stuff." So,
bring them home to mommy.
Yeah, she's like, "I don't want you to touch them, you just bring them home." And so yeah, it all started to make sense there. So Miles, again, man, I thank you so much for coming on and just kind of sharing some fun stories and having some laughs with us and giving me an opportunity to kind of fanboy out a little bit. And you know what? Fuck you to anybody who says fanboy is a dirty term, okay? Because it's not. All right.
It does sound a little crazy, right?
Yeah, it's a little sweet,
It's a little dirty.
It's a little sweet, I don't know if I'm
as dirty as you want it to be.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a fanboy, like maybe like fan man or man. Fan.
I am fan man.
Yeah, but fanboy,
you a cape.
Yeah,
no,
but you know what?
Jesus Christ,
it's not a bad thing. We're keeping you going, So
it's awesome, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, somebody calls me a fanboy in my face, I'll kick their fucking ass. But,
no, but I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks a lot for taking the time too. I know everybody's busy, so
yeah, absolutely. And once we get back on the road, hopefully we can we can get you guys out to a Knoll Family Foundation event and raise some money and spread some awareness. So
yeah, that'd be great. Just just give us a call. We're always around.
Awesome, man. Well, again, I can't thank you enough, and I certainly appreciate you coming on.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Miles. Have a good one.
You too, Kelly. Thanks, Jarett.
Wow, Kelly. Again, you set up an amazing guest for us, and Miles came on and told some awesome stories, and really looking forward to Slightly Stoopid and everybody getting back out on tour. But thank you for, well, you know what? Jaime really set that up through you. So shout out to our friend Jaime.
Let's get the credit.
Yeah, he really did step up and let's get that one set up. But, it's all because of that Knoll dust I tell you about, right? You guys got that fancy last name that just drags people in, but it's really cool anytime we get to have somebody on that knew Brad and got to hang out and spend some time with them. And, you could see today from their touring and the music that they play, how strongly influenced they were by Brad and Sublime.
It's a wonderful thing. I'm sure he's really proud of what they've done.
Yeah, absolutely. How could he not be? And for those of you who have enjoyed this podcast, whether you're a fan of the Foundation or Slightly Stoopid or just a fan of Kelly like we all are, you, of course, we're here to raise money to get Bradley's house up and built and to help others. And you guys can have your own little piece in the Sublime story by helping the Knoll Family Foundation get Bradley's house built. There's so many ways you guys can get involved. Kelly, if somebody's listening to this right now and they're thinking, how can I help? What are some ways?
Well, they can definitely check out our website, which is the NowellFamilyFoundation.org. We've got a lot of information there. We've got our merch all on there, and we have a donate button. So that would be awesome. And we also can take donations through PayPal to info@theknollfamilyfoundation.org. We also have Cash App. We're Knoll Family on Cash App, and we're Knoll Foundation on Venmo. And then, of course, there's all our social media where people can always donate through Instagram and Facebook, too. But everyone's been so great and so generous. We just appreciate all the support.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. If you want some awesome merch and you want to know that the money is going to an amazing cause to help people out, visit the KnollFamilyFoundation.org. Pick up a hat, a hoodie, a t-shirt. If you've already got one, buy one for a gift. And outside of, the donations that, quite frankly, the foundation needs to get this house up and built, there are some other things that you guys can do. You can make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast on platforms everywhere. You can find us on Apple and Spotify and YouTube. And if there's some place for you to listen to a podcast, Bradley's House is probably on there. Go ahead and look us up. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a 5-star review. If you don't think we've earned a 5-star review, just fucking click it anyway. It's really a big help. And let everybody know to check out Bradley's house. And another cool thing that we haven't brought up yet is, for those of us, especially in COVID times, we're not hitting the stores as much. We're doing a lot of our shopping through Amazon and, purchasing gifts that we're sending out to people that we don't get to see during social distancing, or just purchasing stuff for ourselves out of boredom. You can go set up, through Amazon Smile to have the Knoll Family Foundation benefit from your purchases. You don't have to do anything extra. It doesn't cost you any extra money, but you can go ahead and set that up, and we'll share some links for that as well. And I saw that's something that a lot of people have been doing, and every little bit helps.
Absolutely. It really does.
So, Kelly, when we spoke with Miles, he had mentioned that his Sublime song that he would play would be 40 Ounces to Freedom. So I think the choice for the song to lead our listeners out to is pretty easy, right?
Absolutely. We're going to have 40 Ounces to Freedom by Johnny Cosmic from The House That Bradley Built. He did a great job covering it. And, of course, if anybody wants to check out more info about the album, they can go to Law Records website, which is law-records.com, law-records.com, and check out all the stuff they have there for the album. They've got posters, t-shirts, lots of great stuff, and we sure appreciate our friends at Law Records for making that album happen.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And on the Bradley's House YouTube page, we also have shared a bunch of those songs that Law Records page had up. So you can check out the podcast. You can hit up the archives and listen to awesome interviews with Kelly's dad and Miguel and Marshall and the Z-Man, and some just awesome inspirational stories from folks from the foundation and other musicians. So go ahead and check that out. And you can also check out some of those songs from the album. And a lot of those artists, you can find more of their catalogs on Law Records website as well. So Law Records, a huge supporter and friend and even family to the Knowell Family Foundation. So again, a lot of ways you guys can help support the cause, support the podcast, and support the foundation. And as long as you guys are enjoying what we're doing, we're going to keep on doing it. But for right now, I'm Jarett Orr. She's Kelly Knowell, and you guys don't have to go home, but it's time to leave Bradley's house.
Hi, this is Brindy from the Knowell Family Foundation. Many people struggle with addiction. Here is a personal story from someone in recovery. We hope you'll be encouraged as they share their experience, strength, and hope.
Well, I'm going to start with, I'm Tom, and I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is February 26th of 1997. So I did just celebrate a birthday here in the last couple of months. Alcohol and drugs played a huge part in my life up until 24 years ago. Growing up, I thought my father was alcoholic, but he was the kind of alcoholic that, we had the big house and the nicest cars in the neighborhood, and, he had a good job, and all of us kids had nice bikes, and, I thought that was totally normal. Grew up in a suburban Chicago neighborhood that I think back to, the neighbors there. There were probably 5 or 6 that it was just a constant block party. And that's what my childhood was. And I just grew up thinking that was totally normal. And then as I got to be a teenager, I grew into that same kind of lifestyle or design for a living, as what we'd call it, as I call it now. But it was just how I thought things were supposed to be. And then into my teenage years, got in trouble, car wrecks, arrests, fights, I again thought it was all normal to come home with a black eye and, a crunched fender, and just thought that was how people lived. And, into my 20s, same kind of deal. I get in trouble and, I clean up a little bit and get the heat off and get through my probationary time or whatever it was, and go out and do it again 3 years later. So from the period of the mid-20s, I moved to California when I was 21 years old. And, from 21 to 40, I think I had, 2 or 3 major arrests, car accidents, DUIs, whatever, and always went through these rehab, retread, recovery programs. And it never really stuck. Alcoholics Anonymous was one of those. I went to my first AA meeting when I was 17 years old. And, I still remember things that happened at that meeting. Even though it didn't stick then, I still remember things that happened. And the most time that I recall those things that happened is when I'm sitting in a jail cell in trouble once again. I remember some of those things that happened in that meeting. I was lucky enough this time after my final arrest, which was out of state, and I thought for sure all the info was going to get back here to California, and I was going to be doing some serious jail time because it was probably my third, if you counted the California ones. And, I was just sure that life was over for me. I found an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, a small group of people that were just like me. I learned to look for the similarities instead of the differences. And I started a different lifestyle. I learned from them that, life was not meant to be the way that I thought it was. I married into a family of normies. I always tell the story that, my wife has 3 brothers, and, I remember one of the first times that we got together for like a 4th of July barbecue or picnic or Memorial Day or whatever. And everybody was together and all the brothers were in town. And they said, oh, this is really great to have everybody together. Well, let's go get a 6-pack. And I remember thinking, these people really think a 6-pack is fun? But to normal people, that's what they do. They drink a beer and, call it a day. It was never that way for me, but I at least got to learn from knowing people then that there was another life. And I got to learn from seeing other people in Alcoholics Anonymous that, started a daily routine that usually meant, a conversation with God and some time of meditation and some time devoted to someone else other than myself. I learned, that it was time to give back. And I started giving back to the community, started coaching Little League Baseball, got involved in my kids' lives, and just kind of on from there. Like I said, I learned a whole new design for living, a whole new lifestyle. And it, I look back now and I think about, 24 years of sobriety. That, to me, that's my whole life. I don't even count the years prior to me being 40 years old as part of my life, and that it seems like I could have never lived like that. And I'm so glad to live the way that I do now, and even more to be a part of recovery in other people's lives, because that's the most important thing to me now, is to be able to continue to be involved in recovery in many aspects, but mostly in Alcoholics Anonymous. I love seeing, other people get sober and seeing their lives change, and, seeing them get husbands back or not, kids back, new houses, cars, driver's license, simple thing like a driver's license and insurance. I've heard that shared in a meeting, like that was a huge deal. And it was a huge deal because I drove on a suspended license for a long time, and I never really divulged that. But then to hear other people say, I got a car, I got a driver's license, and I got insurance, and they're all in my name. That's a big deal. That's a big step for people that lived like me, before. And, I'm thankful for recovery and, especially Alcoholics Anonymous, because Alcoholics Anonymous happens to be my vehicle that got me this way. And, I look at, all that I've gone through in sobriety. I've had a series of health issues that, it's funny, I always tell people, I've been pretty healthy overall. But then I look back and, I battled cancer in 2006 and through 2009 or 10, and had a hip replacement, had prostate cancer then, most recently been through some spinal surgeries, had a bacterial infection that attacked my spine kind of out of nowhere in December of 2020. And over the last 3 or 4 months, gone through 4 pretty serious spine surgeries. But, all the while doing this, I'm able to do it with people like me in recovery telling me, it's going to be okay. Because believe me, especially this last 3 or 4 months, and I think Brindy will attest, there's times that I did not think it was going to be okay. And there's still times, this week that I don't think it's going to be okay because I'm still struggling. But one thing I know, that if I live life a day at a time and I stay on the straight and narrow and stick with the pack, somebody said that when I came in, stick with the pack. It's like the pack of animals. If you're a fringe player, you're bound to get picked off. So I got in the middle of the pack and kind of stayed with it, and man, it worked out good for me. It's and like I said, it's a design for living that I happen to like, and keeps me out of trouble. I haven't been arrested in over 24 years. That's a good thing. And I battle life one day at a time. When I get challenges, they come up, and you take them down as you can. And I'm lucky enough to have taken them down, one at a time. And I'm sure I'll get through my latest one. But like I said, it wouldn't be if I didn't have a family of sober people around me. My sober army, one of our friends always calls it, because it truly is a sober army. And I'm glad to be surrounded by a sober army.
without your red dress on, screaming that second gear was such a turn on. And the fog forming on my window tells me that the morning's here and you'll be gone before too long. Who taught you those new tricks? Damn, I shouldn't start that talk. But life is one big question when you're staring at the clock, and the answer's always waiting at the liquor store. 40 ounces to freedom, and I take that walk, and I know that, oh, I'm not going back. Oh, I'm not going back. Oh, God knows I'm not going back. Oh, I'm not going. Well, you look so fine when you lie, it just don't show. But I know which way the wind blows. A 40-ounce of freedom is the only chance I have to feel good, even though I feel bad. And I know that, oh, I'm not going back. Oh, I'm not going back. Oh, God knows I'm not going back.